Hello. 90th lesson in the complete set of Artcam 2011A. In this lesson, we will see the transform vector command. As we can access the transform vector under vector toolset from your assistant. Here we can see it like this with icons in vector angles. Vector vector strain your vector strain your vector strain your. Of course, it is not active at the moment, any shape must be selected in the drawing. That's why I made a drawing like this. While this is active, I enter the vector menu. I can transform here. Apart from that, I can select this and access the transform hourly. Apart from all these, I can easily access this command by pressing the key while any shape is selected. In this command here position and origin size, rotate, move and sure. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 sections in total. Let's look at what each section does one by one. Here, the positioner and origin option is the 0 point when we open the first page, which we call the origin point at the origin point of the shape. This is the lower left corner that we set as the 0 point, which is the first STVYD. As we saw in our first lesson from Tansy, opening the new page, we place our origin point in the lower left corner. We could determine it at 5 points, the upper left corner, the upper right corner, the lower right corner or the center point. When opening the page, we placed our origin point in the lower left corner. Here we see the position of the origin point, but the answer to the question of which position is. We can get the answer from the 4 quadrants over there. Namely, these 4 cities represent our shape, while the midpoint of our shape, that is, the part at the midpoint of these 4 cities, is active, the first 80 of the midpoint of our shape is. We were adding $150 to the distance from the midpoint of the first 80. Again, we see that the distance of the midpoint is 264. In other words, we can easily see the xt and ydk values at the origin of the marked part of the 4 cities that represent the logic figure here. If we say the lower left corner, the values are the same as you can see, that is, we can see the xt and ydk values of the lower left corner of our shape here. The option below is the transform evat xt option. When we click on it, it becomes active and only gives us 2 values here and there. This gives the distance of the origin point to the origin point and the center point here. So we see that xt is ydk and ydk is 2100 mm. Apart from that, here, let's take this one, apart from that, there is the copy 10 epli option. When you activate it, it does this by copying any changes I have made to it, that is, any changes I have made to the values here. For example, we entered the lower left corner of xt as 123. Here we measured 123 points as 719. I want this to be 123, 200, if you want it to be 200 and it will position it as 200 but it will position it by copying it. As you can see, it's 200, so it's brought to 200 here, xt and brought it by copying. While this is active, as I said in the name, it always copies the transactions we have made. The number section below shows the features related to our shape, the shapes we have drawn on the page. So here, width gives the width, and haze gives the height. Here we see that it is 60 to 170. We can change this from here. If we change the width from 60 to 100, it will grow proportionally. In other words, it will grow proportionally to 170. As it grows, it will grow in this way, according to the sign here, that is, the bottom left corner will remain constant. Whatever the sign here is, growth will occur that way. Also, if we want to enlarge it to xxxnn and leave it constant to yxn, the link here is in the width and hay option. We remove the click here. If we set our width to 150 when we lift it, the height will remain constant. It will not grow at that rate. In this way, we can change our shape over and over again. In the lower part, the scale part, we can enlarge or reduce our shape to 150 here. By entering the value here, that is, 100%, we write 200% in the sense that it is 1-to-1, the same game, and we get a shape that is twice the size of it. Apart from this, by manually reducing the size of this shape in the water bowls here. Or we can operate by enlarging it. Apart from that, we said 24% and added it. We see the measure of its final state and the measure of its life here, too. We were already seeing it here too. The option below routinely rotates our shape. The positive value we will return will rotate clockwise, and the negative value will rotate counterclockwise. In other words, at 30 degrees, the meaty clock made a turn in the game. If we brought this to everyone, it would be easier to convert them. It did a 30-degree rotation like your front. There is a water tank here as well, just like on the skeleton. Here, we can enlarge and reduce according to the degree, that is, rotate clockwise and inverse as we enter the degree and angle. The part below this is the hope of carrying it. But we can move it to its position on the page, either 8x, plus or action, or 8x, plus or action, here. If we say it is 20 mm with 8x, it is clockwise, that is, to the plus side. If we say it is 30 mm with 8x, it is upwards. We will make a movement. Here too, the 8x and the new, frequently available, manner transport are in question. In 6, in the poetry part, our values up to this point are always in my angle values, and in the poetry part, we observe angular values. This means that we can scroll angularly by 8x and 8x by the amount of value we entered. For example, when we say 30 degrees, 8x's, meaty, we shift 30 degrees, 8x's, 8x's, and keep it constant, 8x's. From here, you will see grain. Yes, as we increase here, 8x is always inside the rectangle here, that is, the height is always in the wind, we remain constant.